So so if we talk, I guess, if you amalgamate them all into one, then Switch 2 launch titles or titles we think will come to the Switch in 2025 at least.
So for launch titles, as I always said, Mario Kart 9, I said from day one that it was a license to basically print money.
You were right. I was skeptical about Mario Kart 9 becoming launch title because I thought, well, if you launch with a big 3D Mario and then round out, middle of the year or towards the end of the year of Mario Kart. But it does make sense now because I think they've had so much time to work on Mario Kart, whereas probably less time to work on Mario. Or Mario maybe needs more time than Mario Kart 9 would do.
Yeah.
Like a 3D Mario.
In terms of like difficulty of making the game.
Yeah.
Because
they're going to go crazy with the 3D Mario, so they've probably spent more time on that. But also now we know, confirm wise, because they've shown it in that teaser trailer, that's coming first. But what do you think about Mario Kart 9? 24 players possible?
Yeah.
That is a little crazy.
I didn't expect that. I never expected them to change because it's been 12 for like what 2 decades, 2+ decades. I don't know about how many exactly were in the first one, but yeah, that's a big change. I think they will have additional mechanics on top of that, like they always do for the big releases. So yeah, it looks 24 makes it look quite fresh.
I think it looks chaotic because can you imagine having 24 people on the track? The tracks have got to be immensely larger than ever before if you've got 24 people on the track. So these things are probably going to be going on for ages. And something I heard somebody mention as well is that they might include things like day and night cycles with the tracks, which would be quite good as well.
Yes.
If you've got 24 people on, the tracks are going to be like one lap is going to take you like a couple of minutes or something. Then having like day and night cycle would be quite cool. Like little things they can add to it to make it different from, say, Mario Kart, the ones that have come before, sort of thing. So yeah, it looks good. But yeah, like you said, that is a license to print money. What Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold, 60+ million on the. It's almost like a 50% sale rate. Based on the install rate, in the install base of the Switch was what Switch is at 146 million last count. So
yeah,
it's almost
146 million.
Yeah, so Mario Kart Deluxe I think it's 62 or 63 million.
I'm just checking. 64 million.
64 million. So I mean, it's
insane.
almost 50% of the Switch owners own that game. And it still sells several million like every couple of months. So
it's been in the top how many games on Amazon for like what? 5, 6, 7 years. And
it's the game they bundle every year. You have a Switch bundles like that running joke. It's always Mario Kart is the bundle game, but it sells. So definitely, that is a good strong move from Nintendo. But I heard somebody mention the other day they think it might be cross-gen. I'm thinking, why would you make Mario Kart 9 cross-gen? That is literally going to get people to go and buy your new system.
Yes, it's not an equivalent thing with the Wii U because the Wii U, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was cross-gen because the Wii U was a failure.
Yeah.
So putting it on Switch was like a quick way to kind of bounce back.
Yeah.
And whereas if it's not going to release on the previous console originally, there's no point. Yeah. There's no point like de-incentivizing new consumers to get. Yeah.
So Mario Kart, that's the only one we have officially confirmed we assume based on the fact they showed it in that teaser trailer will be a launch title. It's very unlikely they would show it in that and it would not be there day one.
Yeah, there's no way.
Do you think will be there day one from Nintendo?
Well, I know you said no. You said 3D Mario is coming later. It's coming later, and I think that could be true. This isn't a hard prediction. Mario Kart 9 was a hard prediction. That was like I was so certain. 3D Mario, it could be a launch title. If they do the 1-2 punch of 3D Mario and Mario Kart 9, like that's like how you sell, like I don't know what, 70 million in 1 year. Like I mean,
it's like I don't know whether it will be if it's too much because that would be an absolutely disgusting. That would be diabolical. Like I dread anything coming out, any systems or games coming out. If they dropped Mario Kart 9 and Mario brand new 3D Mario at launch, that would break the internet in ways that would be immeasurable.
Generational.
I think for them because of their strategy and because game development is going to take longer now with the newer hardware, I think they'll do what they did with the Switch to make sure they've got games, almost like every month pretty much, but big games in their big area. So I think it'll be too much for the first push out the gate. Mario Kart 9 would carry the Switch throughout the whole year if they just had that. But I think they'll push 3D Mario towards like the holiday Christmas game, because that's when they're going to buy it. You know, that's the biggest year for all game companies. It is, what is it? October, November, December.
No. It's, unless I'm wrong, it's not actually. I forget. I think December's a weird one. November is always really good, but December, I don't know if the sales are like only good for hardware or only good for software, but it's one or the other. I think I saw somewhere. I could be wrong about that, but yes, basically,
Christmas
season
I think
is good.
they'll release it October. I think much like they did Mario Odyssey in 2017. I think 3D Mario come October. You've then got October, November, Christmas game, bundle with hardware or something, like a Mario 3D bundle, a special color maybe or something, and those two tentpole in the beginning and the end of the year for launch. You don't need to do anything else. Essentially, that will carry you well into 2026.
If they wanted to, and they did that, they could literally just not release any other first party games. Like it's more than easy enough. They will. So
So you think 3D Mario at launch? I'm saying October, I reckon.
Yeah, but unlike with Mario Kart 9, I feel like both are possible. You do it at launch if you essentially have like, I don't know, insane stuff planned. Like if you're gonna drop Fire Emblem a few months later, then that's when you could start pulling stuff like doing Mario at launch, because you have first party games like decked out for the whole year anyway, which would be insane. But then again, like doing like spacing out does make sense. But here's the thing: when is the release date? June?
I suspect mid-June, because the last dates for the hands-on events that we've got so far is 1st of June in one of the Asian countries. I think it's South Korea, but we've got Taipei and Hong Kong unlisted. They haven't got any dates yet, so those could actually be in June as well. But let's just say they finish all their events in the first week of June. You're not going to release the console whilst you're still doing hands-on events. So I'm thinking mid-June, possibly even late June for release date.
Mid to late June.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So if you launch them with a Mario Kart, that's gonna June, August, September. You're gonna be rolling with that.
Well, yeah, you know what? I think it makes your idea of a 3D Mario in October more likely, because you're not going from March to October. You're going from like June or July to October. It's a lot smaller gap.
Yeah.
But if they do that, then that means that Metroid Prime 4 is guaranteed as a launch title, pretty much at that point.
Oh, definitely.
Because you need a single player experience that's first party.
Yeah.
So I think they'll have, let's say they do 3D Mario October, launch will be Metroid Prime 4, Mario Kart 9, and then I think, well, you had this idea earlier, on another day, that they could release their new IP at launch as well. Like they always do their own thing.
So yeah, definitely Mario Kart 9 at launch. I don't think 3D Mario at launch, but I could be wrong. You were right about Mario Kart 9, so I could be wrong. So definitely Mario Kart 9 at launch. Definitely Metro Prime 4 at launch. That's going to be cross-gen. That's coming to the Switch and the Switch 2. Guaranteed that is going to be cross-gen. Good plan for that. That's good sales for that. And there's going to be something brand new. Like they had with the Switch, you're going to get like maybe an ARMS 2. I don't know.
Do you know what? That game, it got quite a bit of a following as time went on. It was a little bit dismissed when it came out, but as time went on, people are like, oh, we actually really like the character design. And then obviously when one of the characters was in Smash, and that kind of boosted it a bit more. And so I think they could really, they could, if they did an ARMS 2, I'd be happy with that. But could you imagine if they did Nintendo Land 2?
Listen, because I'm hearing all this stuff about, you know, there's all the rumours and what we're going about. There's going to be a lot more social aspects to this. They did that playtest thing where they were testing like an online, what looked like a Miiverse type thing. Yeah. Now, you know how we played the hell out of Nintendo Land on the Wii U.
Yes.
Like, that Pikmin level that we shall never speak of again, because that was just
took a month
but
to
that
beat.
Game was amazing. Just the that was such a good game. Like that. You remember how we used to have like parents, grandparents were all playing that game? That was absolutely insane. So Nintendo Land
Very
2
good.
would be amazing on this. If they didn't, I'm done. That'd be another one of my favorite ones there. So like,
that would be a great additional launch title.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine like dropping Mario Kart 9, Nintendo Land 2, like
Metroid Prime 4, brand new IP, Arms 2,
and Arms 2.
Yeah.
Like it could just be like the insanity is off the charts.
Yeah.
And then obviously I did have this in my head as well, which is, I mean, that Twilight Princess and Windwaker bundle that the streets have been asking for a million years. I don't think it will be at launch, but they could reasonably do it in the first year.
That might be a good. It could. It doesn't feel like a launch. It doesn't feel like a launch thing. It feels like it could be like an April, May thing for the Switch One. I think we might find out about it in the next Direct, which is coming next month, I think, for the Switch One. So if they dropped it, because you've got Xenoblade Chronicles X coming March, nothing dated for April or May. So I reckon they could probably slot Wind Waker Twilight Princess Dual Pack, if it exists, in April or May. However, it could also be there like a Switch 2 remastered whatever reversion or something, or double pack at launch, because there's no way we're getting a 3D Zelda at launch.
Yeah, no way.
We're very unlikely to get a 2D top-down Zelda because we've just had Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, they'll probably do it next year.
So do we get any Zelda representation at launch? If so, that double pack might be a good way to kind of just slot that in there and be like, okay, cool, it's done on there. That will still push systems, because if you can play Wind Waker in, I don't know, maybe a 4K enhanced version or something at launch on Switch 2, that would be a compelling thing for a lot of people, I think. So Zelda representation on launch is hit and miss with this one, because
it's unknown.
We've been fed quite well with Zelda, so I think it could be there. But what do you think about something like Ring Fit 2 at launch? Because that game came out and, the usual suspects were taking the piss. That game has sold 15 plus million copies around the world.
It's popular.
That's ridiculously popular.
Very popular. Game. Like, it might like look a bit like unorthodox, but people liked it. I know you liked it.
It's actually a pretty good RPG. It's a good exercise tool, but it's actually a pretty good RPG as well. So
yeah,
that could be a launch title, or maybe something in the first year or so. I can't see anything different to that.
So here's what I think. I basically agree, but I think that like it could be more of a thing where it's bundled into a larger ecosystem of a game. So like the Ring Fit aspect is like one part of maybe like no, it could be its own thing. It could be its own thing, but maybe like bundled in with Nintendo Switch Online.
Possibly.
Or like, because I think it would be a pretty hard sell, like if you drop something like, if it was an addendum to Nintendo Land 2 and that whole Nintendo Land thing was like a land, and it wasn't just games, it was also, you got your fitness stuff there and then the Mi Plaza stuff as well, and it was like this grand thing, it would slot really well there. Otherwise they could just do it as its own thing. But yeah, fine, definitely suitable for launch.
But hear me out as well. Pokemon, we already know. You're spitting out your coffee. We already know, because they've talked about Pokemon ZA Legends or whatever the hell it's called, but we know that's coming 2025. I'm thinking, if we go back to our date, so you've got Mario Kart 9 at launch, plus a whole bunch of stuff that we just talked about. Mario Odyssey, 3D Mario in October, and they traditionally release Pokemon games in November. I'm reckoning, imagine if you do that triple threat. You have Mario Kart 9 at launch, 3D Mario in October, and then brand new Pokemon game in November. Your year's locked down.
Yeah.
Now, is this new Pokemon game coming to the Switch as well as the Switch 2, or are they just going to push it onto Switch 2? Because that, again, will push Switch 2 systems easily, because Pokemon is Pokemon. Best media franchise, selling media franchise in the world.
Ever, yeah.
So, what do you reckon about a Pokemon Switch 2 exclusive ZA coming in November or around that time to round out that holiday period?
I think that's probably the decision that makes the most sense. Like, if you ever because that would just drag every single Pokemon like fan like straight to the Switch 2. And the triple threat of Mario Kart 9, Mario, and then and then Pokemon within the span of like within like less than half a year. And then they drop some like fun Christmas game as well, and then the bundles as well in Christmas time. Yeah, it's crazy. It gets very wacky. It's hot. Like I think we're going to be seeing like record sales.
Now on to one of my favorite franchises, and obviously yours as well. What are we thinking? Fire Emblem in the first year, are we thinking a launch title? Are we thinking, because there's rumors they've been working on a remake of a previous game, are we thinking launch title? Are we thinking first year? And what we think, are we hoping for a Three Houses sequel or game in that vein? I don't know.
I think the Fire Emblem remakes, they've been very much discussed. I think it's possible as a launch title. I think it's possible it just comes out on Switch, and then by virtue of it being backwards compatible, it's like, there you go. And kind of, but in terms of a new Fire Emblem at launch would be insane. Yeah. Like, it would be a very good move.
You don't think so? Maybe
I don't see it.
Maybe stretch that this year, maybe early next year.
I think it's early next year. It's either early next year or, I mean, they're not going to really release anything in the same month as Pokemon, are they? Like,
no, nothing gets released in Pokemon. So, like anyone, as soon as you get a date for Pokemon, everyone starts moving their games out of that week because they're like, no, nothing's gonna like come close to touching that.
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
So what do you think? Do you think they'll do it in like Christmas, or Christmas? It's only Christmas launch or next year. So which is it?
I would love a new Fire Emblem at launch, but I suspect it will probably be throughout the year, possibly early next year it might come. But moving from Fire Emblem, do you think we'll get any Xenoblade representation? Because I don't think we're going to get any this year, because we're getting Xenoblade Chronicles X already. I don't think we're going to get anything Xenoblade, unfortunately.
I basically agree.
Although, what if we get a Xenoblade Warriors game? What's the possibility of that?
That would be a great idea.
Like all the characters across all the games in like a Hyrule Warriors type game. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, that would be good. I mean, they could literally throw that in at any point in the year.
True.
They could definitely do that, and I agree that because of Xenoblade Chronicles X, like there won't be a new one. I think this year. But a Warriors game would be good. Yeah. I would play it. It would be
maybe we'll get that fancy new Dynasty Warriors at launch. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Because obviously most of our discussions about first party, and while those games are they first party? They're third party, aren't they? It's a weird one.
Yeah, I think that's a discussion for another time. So that's going to do it for our switch to first party game predictions. This will be for launch games and games that might come in 2025. We're going to have a second video about third party switch to games, so that will probably be up on the channel later this week, so tune in for that. All our socials are in the description. Thank you for listening, and we will see you on the next video. Cheers.